Marriage and cohabitation is doomed to fail. 4 reasons why. Young men, listen up. What I'm about to tell you is the truth. I've experienced it myself. I've also heard the same thing over and over from other men. You might think that you are the exception, that you are alpha enough to keep a woman interested. Well, living separately while doing this is one thing. That arrangement is doable, even long-term, potentially. But the second you marry and live together, you've set the clock ticking. And here are the 4 reasons. Number 1, there is a fundamental difference between the way men perceive their home and women perceive their home. What do I mean by this? As a man, you view your home as a place of peace, as a place of relaxation. It's where you go after a long day of work, after you've put in lots of hours, to unwind. It is your refuge. Don't make the mistake of thinking that women have this same mindset, because they do not. A woman views her home as a work zone. Never forget that. When a woman is home, she sees all the improvements that need to be done on the house. She sees things that need to be cleaned. She sees it in the same way that you see your job. I want you to do something for a second. I want you to think right now, if you were at your job and you saw someone just sitting around on their chair or kicking back and taking a nap, what would you think honestly? You would say, wow, that person is so lazy. What the hell is wrong with them? They're not carrying their weight. But that is exactly how a woman perceives you when you are home, just sitting on the couch, watching sports or watching Netflix or whatever it is. She sees you as lazy because you are kicking back while you should be doing something and while you are in the work zone. After several years of marriage, I started to notice a pattern. Anytime I took a nap at home, it always seemed to get my ex-wife angry. I thought that this was just something that was unique to her, but I have spoken to many of my friends and they all tell me the same thing. One time, one of my buddies was taking a nap. He said his girlfriend, his live-in girlfriend at the time, came home and started breaking down crying just because she saw him sleeping. He didn't know really the psychology behind it either. But we talked about it since, and we now both realize this is the reason. It's connected to the fact that women view the house as a work zone. Number 2, there is also a difference between how men and women think about relationships themselves at the core level. Men generally, and not just in relationships, men in life generally want peace. They want smooth relationships. They try to resolve conflict. They try to understand the other person and come to a common ground. Make no mistake, again, you're noticing patterns here, right? Women do not have that same mindset. What women want is passion. They want excitement. They want drama. And those things do not agree in general with a lifestyle of peace. This is another thing that took me years to realize. I was always trying to make things work with my ex-wife. And I was thinking to myself, why is this not working? Don't we both have the same goal? And then I realized, no, we don't. Because in this case, the other person, they want excitement and passion. And when you want that, you are going to create drama. You are going to intentionally make chaos and conflict when there's no reason for it. So in this case, you are both literally working in the opposite directions. What you are trying to create is the exact opposite of what she is trying to create. Number 3, getting into the topic of the division of chores at home and also gender equality. These days, as a man, you are expected by society, in other words, it is the norm, for you to do 50% at least of all the household chores. This is the expectation. And if you don't do this, you will be shamed. On the flip side, if you do this, what happens? Well, there was that study back in 2012 done in Norway, and I will put a link at the bottom if you have not heard of it or read it already, which shows that the more chores a man does at home, meaning 50% or more, the more likely he is to get a divorce. Did you hear that? The more chores a man does at home, the more likely he is to get a divorce. So this is a catch-22. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. It is a non-winnable situation. And for those of you who think that because this study was done in Norway, it doesn't apply to the United States here, I would argue the opposite, because Norway is even more progressive when it comes to the whole gender equality topic. The final reason, number 4, that marriage and cohabitation is doomed to fail is related to happiness. I have another question for you. As a man in a relationship, is happiness and contentment something that you have as a goal? If your answer is yes, and I expect that it would be, then there is a problem. And here is the problem. There was another study done back in 2012 by Harvard Medical School and published by the American Psychological Association, I will put a link below, which shows that a woman is happiest in a relationship when her husband is unhappy or suffering for her sake. The rationale behind this is that a woman can gauge or have an indicator of her husband's commitment to her based on how much he is willing to put up with in the form of suffering for her. Now, the more psychologically insecure a woman is, the more this would be true. If a woman feels unsure in her relationship, then she will do this even more. She will do all these tests on you to see, how much are you committed to me? And she will get a positive response and find more reassurance if she sees that you are unhappy or suffering for her sake. What is the solution to all 4 of these problems? Never sign a legal marriage contract and never cohabitate in a situation that could result in legal marriage. That's all I have for today. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel.